Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watching this video, those who have subscribed, and those who will be subscribing after watching this video. And while you're just on here, just go ahead and turn your post notifications. This video, as you can see, we will be turning the NYX Born to Glow $10 foundation into a $50 foundation. Yes, you read it, you heard. I'm pretty much really excited about this video because not only is the foundation $10, but it's a really nice foundation. It's supposed to be like medium to full coverage. It's supposed to add illumination to the skin. Just flawless finish. I'm really excited about this foundation. But if the foundation looks like a $10 foundation, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. So let's go ahead and get this face on. Okay, so the first steps into turning your $10 foundation into a $50 foundation, and specifically the NYX Born to Glow foundation, is your moisturizer. I'm going to start off with my Tatcha Beauty moisturizer. This moisturizer is amazing. If you want to know more about it, you can go on and watch that other video that I just posted. But this moisturizer is amazing. Now, for your foundation routine, any routine, you want to make sure that you are moisturizing your skin. Now, I already have a little moisturizer on, but I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit more. Again, because your skin can be dry, it may be a little oily, you may need to add moisture or you may need to take away some of the moisture. So that's what your moisturizer is for. And yes, the oil-free moisturizer helps with that too. So next, in the flawless foundation, I'm going to go ahead and do the Born to Glow primer. This primer gets a little messy, but I'm only going to use a little bit of it because it's an illuminating primer. And you know, I just don't want to look like I'm glowing out the damn camera. But yeah, get it on your neck too. Like, okay. Okay. Next in the steps of flawless foundation, I like to go ahead and apply my eyebrows first. Why? Eyebrows need to go on first because if you make a mistake and you already put the concealer, it's really hard to draw over concealer. Like, you pretty much might as well just wipe the whole thing off and start over. So I like to go in with my eyebrows first, and then we're gonna conceal them. So we'll go ahead and start to make these look really good, okay? So I'm gonna go do these and I come back. Okay, so my eyebrows are now filled in, and I'm gonna go ahead and conceal them. Conceal them. I know y'all probably like, what is conceal them? Conceal them is pretty much just going underneath them, outlining them. I like to trace them. That's whatever definition, but it's carving. I call it carving. So I'm gonna go ahead and carve my eyebrows like I'm carving a pumpkin. And this kind of just really makes the look. Like, I feel like eyebrows, like if your eyebrows ain't popping, then it kind of, I don't know. So when you carve your eyebrows, you want to make sure you're getting right underneath the hairs, but you're leaving enough room to blend it out without them looking thin after you blend them out, or having them look too thick after you blend them out. So I'm gonna start with this eyebrow. I'm only gonna do one eyebrow, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So one side has a lot of concealer. I'll just show y'all. One side has a lot of concealer, the other side doesn't. So with that being said, I'm gonna use the flathead side, and you're facing the majority side downward because you don't want to apply too much. So going right underneath that brow. Now, if you notice, I flipped it to smooth out the product. Now I'm gonna go ahead and carve the top. Now with the top, you can do the side with the concealer, being that this is it, but you do want to keep flipping it to make sure it's evenly spread. If it's not evenly spread, then that's when you start to have problems. Like so. The next step in this process is pretty much just blending this out, but I like to blend in a downward motion because I really want this to get in the crease. Just a tip, make sure all your brushes are clean, all your brushes are dry. I just cleaned this one, so being that it's a little wet, I have to be careful because I don't want the product to start breaking up due to the water. So just blend that out. Okay, so for the next steps in this flawless foundation, you know, this is the $10 foundation that I bought from CVS. Now, I love a good foundation. I love to go to the store and get a foundation that is not expensive. The problem with buying drugstore foundation is the main thing is color. The main thing is being able to try it on. Like, how can I even buy a $10 foundation if I can't even touch it, look at the color? It was very hard matching this foundation because you have to look at this little strip right here. I had 2 of them. I opened this up. I'm sorry, CVS, but I opened this one up specifically because I felt like the color was going to match spot on, and I went around the corner went like this, and I was like, okay, we got a color. And something you could do too is, like, I have other foundations by NYX that are very similar in color, so I was trying to remember what number or the name of it. If you turn to the back of this foundation, you will see the number and the name, and you can kind of compare it to the other numbers and names and kind of figure out which one. When you're dark skinned, it makes it a little easier because especially brands like this, they don't make a variety of colors for us, so we're probably the last 3 or 2 shades anyway in their collection. There's 45 shades in this foundation, and it's supposed to be a naturally radiant foundation. I'm really excited about it again because I have dry skin and I want my skin to glow, so I want to look popping with this $10 foundation. Now, you're gonna go ahead and use a brush. This brush is not the cleanest. Make sure your brush is clean. I just really like this brush for this foundation, just based off the fact that it goes on very nice with this brush. I don't know if it's really the brush or the foundation or if it's both of them together, but I do know this is a good brush and a good foundation, so we're gonna see. But I'm gonna go ahead and try this one. I would use the back of my hand, but I'm gonna just use the tube and call it a day. I don't wanna overuse the foundation either. We got $10. Can't overuse it. So go ahead and just blend this out. Oh, I do feel like I need another layer, but that's all right. I feel like this is enough. This is enough. I am going to use the back of my hand with a little, because the back of your hand really gets, you can really see how much you really need. Like, I don't know, I feel like when you just throw it on, you can't really see how much you need. And if you put way too much, it's gonna look crazy. If you don't put enough, it's gonna look like you don't got nothing on. You wanna look like we have a little something on. Beautiful. Blending foundation, whether it's a $10 foundation or a $50 foundation or a $2 foundation, you want to make sure you don't see no lines, because it's really easy to see brush lines from the application. So that's why I like this brush, because it's stippling and it's just kind of putting the foundation right into the skin opposed to laying it on top. Okay, so next in this amazing routine so far of what we have, I'm gonna go ahead and add my concealer again. I have 2 concealers. One is lighter and one is darker. I'm gonna use both. Only because I want to kind of see what it looks like. I don't think that your face is one color. Even when you look at my foundation application, you can tell that here, this triangle, is the areas that I want to brighten up. But this foundation is good. Like, my neck matches, you know. I don't look light, don't look like a ghost. So I'm very pleased so far, very pleased. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these concealers. Now with these concealers, the biggest thing is you're gonna find the number on the bottom of the cap. I'm just gonna go ahead and add my concealer. Concealer should be applied in the direction going outward, because I feel like you can see your pores once you add the concealer. And this is the lighter one, so I don't want to add too much. Okay, not too much. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the darker one. And even not, this one's not even that dark, but And your concealer, you don't want like a transparent line like that. You want a little bit of thickness with application. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, I don't want to put too much foundation or concealer too much or this and that. If you want a flawless beat, you kind of have to add a little more just so that it lasts a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm gonna just let it dry down and then I'll be back to blend this out. So I may have let this dry a little too long. My beauty blender is nice and damp. This is actually not a beauty blender, but I would prefer a beauty blender when I'm doing my foundation. I don't know, I just feel like the sponge isn't so like dense, but being that this is a little bit more dense, maybe it won't absorb a lot of makeup. I don't know, we will see. So the tip, you want to go right under the eye and blend this out, and you're not dragging it, but you're patting it in its place. So just blend. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna keep blending and I'll be back. I'm gonna use my Fenty powder. This is their setting powder. And I'm using Fenty because it is a luxury brand powder, and I'm not using it because of the name. I'm using it because I actually do like the powder, but sometimes we do need to use the more expensive powder versus a cheaper powder because of the color. Sometimes the drugstore brands or the lower end, you know, just name brand, I'm not saying they're lower end in quality, but the name, it just does not look right. I feel like it looks more powdery than actually a brown or a yellow. So it looks more like a flower, like a real true flower. But I'm gonna go ahead, dot my puff, and I'm bending it, and I'm just going to place it in that area. Beauty blender is a little bit easier to use when you're setting, but I wanted to use the powder in this video because being that the powder is not wet, my sponge is not wet, it's just gonna place it a little better. And a little on the forehead because we don't want it looking crazy white. So basically, yeah, I wanted to use something that is going to be a little bit more expensive, just because it's a nicer finish. Sometimes I think just the drugstore just does not have a nice finish for me because I have dry skin. So, you know, full face of drugstore makeup might work good on one person, but it might not look good on me. But we will do that one day. We will do that one day. I mean, technically this is all drugstore, but we're gonna do all drugstore one day. So now that this is setting, I'm gonna go ahead and dust this off with my Micro Smooth powder by Sephora, because y'all know this is my go-to. But honestly, you don't let the powder sit too long because then it starts to look really white underneath the eyes, and that's when we get flashback, and that's when we get them ugly pictures. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and dust this off. I'm gonna dust one side off first, and then I'm gonna dust the other side off. Oh, this looks so good. Okay, so I know y'all probably like, girl, this is your face. But no, if you paid attention to my face in the beginning, it was a little rough. You know, I'm gonna have a little breakout, a little flare up, but this looks amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead with my bronzer. Now, with your bronzer, again, this does not have to be expensive, but you want your bronzer to look good. You want your bronzer to kind of give your skin that sun kiss. And I feel like when my skin looks more sun kissed than just like I threw makeup on, it just looks its best. And I'm doing a soft contour, okay? So that means these steps are really easy to follow. You don't need a lot of product when doing this. You do need some of the products that I mentioned because they're really important in the steps of having flawless foundation and making that little $10 foundation look like a $50 foundation. So I'm going. So now I'm bronzing my cheeks, and I'm doing this kind of in an upward motion. I am like, oh my gosh, my face looks like powder, but I'm gonna spray that. We're gonna get all that together, so don't even worry about that. So I'm just kind of blending in the upward motion, but I'm also making sure that I'm blending out my setting lines. That is the biggest thing, because sometimes we stop right where the eye ends, and then when we do that, that's when we see that powder right underneath the eyes. So you want to make sure you're kind of blending away from that area and up into your temple. So yes. Now, from this side compared to this side, you can already see the dimension. I am gonna get right up in my hair though, because I don't like that my scalp be looking white. And then I'm gonna head into the other side. So after applying your bronzer, you wanna go ahead and apply your highlighter before you spray your face and after you spray your face. This really brings a pop to the face, and I'm gonna add it right over that contour, right on the temple, blending it up. And then I'm gonna do a little bit underneath the eyebrow. Okay, so we have two setting sprays. One setting spray is by MAC, which is my ultimate go-to. This is my favorite, this is my baby. And then I have the Bear With Me setting spray by NYX. Now, when I originally bought this setting spray, I loved it. I loved it with the collection, the Bear With Me collection. And I was gonna go ahead and spray my face with this one, but I was like, you know what? Because it is $10 or less than that, I'm not going to spray my face with this one. I'm going to spray my face with my MAC Fix It setting spray. I am using this, the Prep and Prime, only because it is a really good setting spray. And when you're setting your makeup, you want everything that sets to be nice. So as you can see, I use the setting powder by Fenty to set my face because it's a nice setting powder. I'm not saying that you can't get a nice setting powder at $10. It's just that's a nice setting powder. And I'm also going to prime my, not prime this, but you can use different. You can use this to prime your face. But I'm going to use this to set my face. This is a amazing setting spray. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and set my face. And when you spray your face, this is the #1 thing that people always mess up with. They spray and set their face this close. You want to kind of be far back because you don't want the little spit out to be all over your face messing up the foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray my face. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on a mascara and a lip, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and just threw on a lip and some mascara. The lip is just a chestnut lip liner and my Bare Minerals Pink Passion. This is just kind of like a nice like lip tint. It's nothing crazy. I really just think it's like a lip balm. I don't know. But I'm really pleased with this look. I'm really pleased with this foundation. I do feel like my face looks flawless. I feel like this is definitely one of those foundations that you can't go wrong with. I do feel like this could pass for a $50 foundation. I'm not going to say to continue to buy a $10 foundation. I'm not going to say buy a bunch of $50 foundations, but I'm going to say utilize what you have. You know, you have a $10 foundation and you want it to look like a $50 foundation. Look through your products. I have so many products that I may have never even used or touched or even tried. So, you know, when I actually had the NYX concealers, they were sitting in my room for about 3 months. And then I'm like, wait, why haven't I even tried these concealers yet? And I was like, oh, because I need to go get the foundation. So another tip when buying a cheaper foundation is to match it with the same concealer, depending if it's a good brand. So I know some brands that don't have a really good concealer, but they might have a really good foundation, or, you know, foundation with a NARS or, you know, a Tarte concealer. So in reality, I want to stick to the same formulas because that's what matters too. If you go out and get a NARS concealer and then you're using NYX foundation, that concealer might be a little bit more watery, the foundation might be a little bit more creamy. So when they actually combine together, you're getting the water and the oil, or the oil and the water, and it doesn't look right. Like, it just starts to have that, like, that oil on top of water look, and you don't want that. You want everything to look nice. Same with the primer. The primer, if you notice, was the same primer that was with the collection. The main things was the primer, the foundation, and the concealer. All three of those lined up. The only thing I didn't use was a setting powder and a setting spray. Everything else was the same. So again, when it comes down to picking your foundation and it's a cheaper brand, you want to make sure you're probably going to keep the brands and the products the same. That's going to probably be the best result. And that goes, honestly, I think with any brand, you want to keep them the same because you don't know what type of formula that company is using versus the formula that this company is using. So I just want to say I love this foundation. I think this is a really quick beat as well. I don't think it takes 20 minutes to throw this on. I didn't add lashes because I didn't want to take away from this look. This is a look I could walk outside with. This is a look I could go to the store in. This is a look I could even go on a date with. Maybe add some lashes or a different lip. But I do think this foundation looks like a foundation.